But I also want to talk about Trap. Yeah, I'm excited. That's right, Trap. That's right. We're talking about Trap. We're going to review this movie from M. Night Shyamalan, newest one. I did like. I'm giving you fair warning, anybody who's watching. I did like Knock at the Cabin Door. I realized there was some fan base was divided on that. You know what? I'll give my defense of M. Night Shyamalan at the end. That's how I'll finish the show off. Let's review Trap. Let's talk about this movie. Trap is a movie, for anyone who doesn't know, coming into it, it's a guy who takes his daughter to a Taylor Swift type of, and the reason I say not Taylor Swift, because she's in stadiums, and this was like very much an arena and for reason, but so it was like that Taylor Swift type of performer called Lady Raven, daughter's favorite singer. He's taking her. He realizes there's a huge police element there. They're blocking everybody in, checking people, stuff like that. So he's kind of like, what's going on? So then we get to this part where you have you find out he's like the serial killer called the Butcher, and he has somebody taken. So he finds out that they're there for him. This whole concert's a trap, and it's all to catch him because they caught word that he's going to be there. So it becomes like this desperate attempt to try and escape when everywhere is completely covered. Everyone's watching. Like, there are hundreds of cops there. Everyone's in on it. Like the Lady Raven, the singer, she's in on it. The whole nut. I'm going to try not to give too many spoilers because there's a bit of a twist that comes at the end. We're not looking at the Sixth Sense here, but like there's a bit, so I don't want to give out too many spoilers, but right out of the trailer, they tell you he's a serial killer and it's all a trap for him. It does break away, which I thought was smart, about halfway, maybe a little bit more, out of the concert element. And he does get out of it. I'm not going to tell you how, and I can tell you which way it goes, but I will tell you that the actors in it, Josh Hartnett, first of all, wow. Did a great job. Had so much fun watching him in this movie. His facial expressions and his emotion, I talked about this on the Snob Nation morning show on Sunday. I really love when an actor can change on a dime, like switch it on and off and like go to a different emotion, and tell a story with their facial expressions. And he did it perfectly. I can't take that away from him. He did it so well so many times. He had to like switch faces, and I'm not even saying just quickly, like, you saw sometimes like the smile, like this look of despair and worry in his eyes, but his like creepy smile with it. But then it grows into like a real smile. Like, you see it like turn. He's got two different personalities that are just, and I'm not saying he has two different personalities, but he has two different personalities he knows he has to live by, being this killer. So it's really well done. I like that. He did such a great job. The little girl was really good. The young lady who played, and I would say she's probably about 11 or 12. That's why I said little girl. But the young lady who played Lady Raven she did a good job. Like, her acting, I don't think is in the same caliber. She's young, and it seems like she's just starting out. I don't know if she's been in anything else. I haven't seen her in anything else. And she may be well established, but you can definitely see where it's maybe choppy, compared to, working with like somebody like Josh Hartnett or something, or others in the movie. But she is an amazing singer, and she did a good job, like, playing it up and like getting into the role. So I'm not saying it was bad. I've seen bad acting. It wasn't that. It was just that you could tell a certain level of acting coming in. Even like the little girl in it, compared to Josh Hartnett, who has all of this stuff and emotion he has to play, you could tell there's a big difference there. So just in caliber of acting. So, but again, nothing took away from it. Everybody was so into it and into the role. I've heard a lot of people. I think this movie is a big suspension of disbelief. This movie reminds me a lot of the old thrillers, like The Manchurian Candidate, or thrillers like that, like a lot of those, old heist movies, things like that in tone. There's this horror element too, but it's not really. I would call this a thriller. I even like this compared to like a Body Heat or something like that, where take the sexualization out of it, but like the intensity is there. The trapped feeling is there. I don't understand why so many people are hating on it, especially considering the what it brings to the table. Like, they do, like, I've heard a lot of people talk about like certain elements, like when he goes into the police room and they're all doing like this huddle and they're all talking and he's just kind of walking through and he's, oh, excuse me, and he's like, gotta change the coffee and stuff. So like, he's playing it up. He has a work badge that he stole, and that at that point, and this is only a little scene, and to kind of give you an idea, because I've heard this scene talked about quite a bit. And I might have a little bit of spoiler talk, but I'll put up the banner for that. But so for this scene, like he's walking through, and as he's walking through, he's like, hey, sorry, I gotta go. And he's like real, like kind of creeping, and they're all just moving out of his way. And a lot of people said that's really unbelievable. Like, oh, they wouldn't recognize him, this, that, and the other thing. One, no, they would not recognize him. Nobody would say they'd recognize him. He wasn't being overly, yes, there's a lot going on, but again, the guy's got the badge, got the thing, and he's just walking through. He's like, hey, I gotta go do this. Most people will react that way, not really ask so many questions, especially if he's engaging and he's actively talking to people. It's weird. I'm not saying it should be that way, but I'm not going to say I didn't sneak on certain lots to try and go network and meet people during my time as a filmmaker. And it can be easy if you know how to maneuver like that. It's scary now to think about it with like a serial killer in a movie, but it can happen. I've seen it. I've seen people do it, in bars, and like go up to other groups and just start hanging out. Not like, it's weird. I've seen it, but it can happen. So like when people were saying that's a tough one, I was like, that's one of the easiest believable things. There's a lot of things in this movie that I'm like, this isn't that believable. Like to kind of, let me throw up the spoilers because I'm trying to like not say anything but I do kind of want to talk about certain elements to it. One of the biggest things that I heard that was hard to believe was like, how did like nobody recognize him if he's pretending to be an employee, stuff like that? Very easily. There's no way they sat everyone down at the same exact time that worked there and said, this is the plan, we're going to show you everything, we're going to run it through, if you have any questions, we're going to ask you. What they did was they took all of those employees, probably not many days before, even if this was well choreographed, because let's face facts, it's hard to get employees there. And that's going to come to my next point, but like where I strike against this movie a little bit, there are so many missteps by the police in this that cannot exist in thrillers today. Fans, not that fans weren't smarter then, but fans didn't have the access to information they have back in like the 70s, the 60s, or the 80s, when you saw this stuff. They didn't have that access to, like, that's why we believe like you only get one phone call. That's why we believe all this stuff they say about cops in movies and stuff like that. That's not like they would probably, if they were going to do this, which is this is the dumbest trap idea of all time. You're putting 30,000 fans at risk. The guy blew the place just not to get caught. Like, what are you doing? So you got this guy, so there's a lot of fantastical. So you have to have some suspension of disbelief with certain elements in this, the easier elements. So I will have a suspension of disbelief with this movie that this was the trap, this was their best option, and they were going to do it. But it's hard for me to believe that they would keep the employees there for this event, or at the very least, if they couldn't get enough police to go undercover as merch table or as food people or stuff like that, it's very hard to believe that they didn't have an undercover in the uniform working at every single area, like just to watch. So like when that one guy is telling him all this information, the guy walks up, he's like, hey, focus on your job or something, man. Like, don't talk about all this stuff, so like that's the stuff that is hard for me to believe a little bit about this. The end too, and this is because the spoilers up, I'll talk about it a little bit. So if you haven't seen him, you don't want to hear this, but he does get caught in and the twist of it, again, so if you guys still watching, that's on you. But the twist of it is that his wife figured out who he was because she thought he was cheating on her. And when she found out who he was, she left a clue for the police and called them anonymously to say, I think I know who the butcher is. I think the butcher's place. He has, I found a ticket stub or whatever to this concert. And the police set up this trap because it's the only way they can get to him. He's meticulous about everything. He's obsessed about all of it. So interestingly enough, we get to that point, but he's caught, and like the police let him like bend over and pick his kid's bike up and set it up and like all of this stuff. I'm like, they're not holding him, they're not carrying. Like, this dude just killed 2 cops too, like he just, and not to mention a mess of a load of other people, even at that concert. So now you get to this point and they just are kind of like walking around him with their guns on him, and then he stops, picks up a bike, and then steals the bike, this bike spoke, and it assumes that he got away. So I will say this, Haley Mills is in it, and I said this joke before and I'm going to say it again. Miss Bliss sucks at catching troublemakers. That's all I know. She was good, and I love Haley Mills from back in the day, all her old movies and stuff like that. So to see her pop up in this movie was kind of cool. So it was a pleasure. She plays the FBI profiler who puts together the trap. She's been trying to find the butcher for a long time. Not enough with her. This could have been a very cool Loomis and Michael sort of vibe. I wish there was more from her. She does a good job in it. I mean, all of her scenes, she does really well. But I wish there was more. We got more from her perspective. We get pretty much the entire perspective from Josh Hartnett, and he carries the movie greatly. But that would have been a cool element to have, is that cat and mouse type of element. But this one felt like it fits in like the Split universe and that Unbreakable Split universe sort of thing. Like he could be another one of the bad guys from there. I don't know how. We know how that movie ended with Glass, but you guys let me know. That's my review of Trap. But before we get going, I want to share my rating for it. And I'm going to share Paul's rating as well. And let me move the banner so you guys can see everything. No more spoilers. There we go. So we both gave it a 3 out of 5. I really liked it. I would watch this movie again. There's some elements to it. It's by no means am I saying this is a great movie. It's not one of M. Night Shyamalan's best. It's one of his better films, though, and I think he gets a lot of shit. So I'm going to come to the defense a little bit of of M. Night Shyamalan. So I think M. Night Shyamalan, in my opinion, is somebody who's a pretty good filmmaker. He makes nice looking movies. He tells pretty good stories. His twists, I think, are a crutch. And they've turned into that. But he became famous for his twists from his first movie. You know, like it always bothered me that, like, because when you watch Unbreakable, yeah, there's a twist to it, but it's not overt and it's not terrible. It's just there's a twist to it. He seems to like twists. People were just pissed about that movie because it wasn't as like amazing of a twist as I See Dead People. Like, we get it. And then Bruce at the end, we get it. But Unbreakable, I think, is one of his best movies. Split being another one, you know, and all within that world. I'm not a huge fan of The Sixth Sense. Good movie, but I don't love it like so many people do. And I don't think it's the pinnacle. I think it's a first movie that had a really good kind of hook to it, you know, sort of that twist to it, I should say. But yeah, it was a good movie. That was a good freshman movie. I think Unbreakable is a great sophomore movie. And then, like, I feel like the studios just kept pounding him to keep doing twists and write twists in. It has to have a twist. And it's not just that. Like, I feel like that was like the hit of the day. Every freaking studio is doing twist movies. And they were annoying. Oh, and I do blame not just The Sixth Sense. I also blame Fight Club for that. That had a huge twist to it too as well. But yeah, I don't know. To my defense of M. Night Shyamalan is like he's made a lot of movies I've enjoyed. Again, like this is on the same level as like an Old or, you know, Signs or something like. I don't understand why people just hate him. Why? This is a good movie. You know, he makes pretty good movies. He makes it with fun, different. Like, I watch the same shit over and over again. So many horror filmmakers are making the same shit over and over again. But this guy comes in and he's telling a different tale. Knock at the Cabin is a very different movie from this, you know, but same sort of vibe. Even The Watchers, I didn't like The Watchers. That's his daughter's movie. He produced it. And the reason I bring that in is because clearly, like, it's his daughter. He had influence on her life. So you when I think about, you know, how his daughter's movie was, it's still a beautiful movie. Atmosphere is great. And I did a full review on it, so you check it out. But like, it just lacked in a story. There were some holes. Her father is the same way, just better at it, in my opinion. It's just more interesting. So, you know, you watch that and, you know, you watch his movies and I just think I like them. The one I like the least is The Lady in the Water, but I know people love that movie. So I think that he gets a bad rap. I think, you know, where he would shine the most. Hey, what's up, Joe? How you doing? The India Escape Network. Good to see you. Hope you are all doing well, sir. You know where I think that movie would shine where M. Night Shyamalan would shine the most is like, I don't want to say kid-friendly horror movies. It's not kid-friendly, but something like and I know he was going to do Tales from the Crypt. I think he would have excelled really well at Tales from the Crypt. I'm sad that they canceled that before anybody got to see it. But he would excel in like the Fear Street movies, stuff like that. Maybe a little bit more than that, a little bit more horror, but for younger demographic, I feel like he could excel really well at that. And I think he wants to be Hitchcock, but I don't think he's on Hitchcock's level. But we got to stop counting M. Night Shyamalan out as a bad filmmaker. We really do. Like, so many people, it's like, I came to defense of him the other day. I'll come to defense of him now, motherfuckers. Nickelback isn't that bad. Nickelback Heck and M. Night Shyamalan are fine. I think we got to a point where it was popular to hate them. I think that happened with Star Wars too, and then they made shitty movies and then really made us hate them. But the more I think about it, I think like things like, and let's get rid of Nickelback now. It's not strengthening my argument. But M. Night Shyamalan is a good filmmaker, and he makes good movies that last. I know fans of his, like people who watch I watch his movies multiple times. Like I'll watch Trap again. I will watch Knock at the Cabin again. That one's a little more brutal for me to have rewatchability because there's not enough horror or suspense to go with it. It's good thriller. Suspense is okay, but like there wasn't enough of it to keep drawing me back like a horror movie would, like, or a good thriller would. It was good though. I will watch it again, but maybe one or two other times. But yeah, when it comes to M. Night Shyamalan, Unbreakable will always be one. Split, another great one. You get like Glass sucked. Yes, that's probably his worst movie. Can we not keep giving him shit just because we had a bad movie? Devil is good. I just think we hold people to certain standards of, especially their first film. Think about doing anything for the first time ever, and you did really well at it. And then they're like, okay, come back and do it tomorrow. Essentially, that's what it would be. Like, yeah, it's a couple of years later and make another movie. And like he did. Unbreakable knocked it out of the park. I thought it was a great movie. It just wasn't the same. That's the thing about I really like about it is like, because even when you watch Split versus Unbreakable or Glass, they're different movies. It's actually I'm very surprised he made Glass. I don't know if he was rushed. I don't know if the studio rushed this or not. Keep this man away from studios. Studios, give him your money, but just keep him away from studios. Let him just tell a movie, and then I think you can get something like Trap, which is enjoyable. Like 3 out of 5 stars. That's pretty good. So a lot of people were hating on it. They said they felt trapped. They said they felt ridiculous. There's a lot of answers for all the stuff that people are complaining about. So I don't really know what they're talking. That ending was a little convoluted. We kind of went all over the place, but I didn't hate that either. It just was too long, in my opinion. I feel like after we get to it, like it was too long once you got there before he finds out about the somebody in his family. So I said, once he finds out that twist about somebody, it was still feeling long at that point because it was just becoming too crazy. And there was still no anchor character like a Loomis. Like Haley Mills was there, but she was only there for certain things. Like, I don't know how much she can do, but they didn't seem to have her doing much. So, but she did shine when she was in it, like I said. But I don't want to go back to my review of it. I just want to say, M. Night Shyamalan, in defense of you, I think you're a good filmmaker. Can't wait to see what else you got coming out. Please, no more tie-ins. Please don't tie in Trap with anything. Let's just have fun and make crazy movies. And I think that I would just be overjoyed. And that's surprising. I did talk about that for like 15 minutes, didn't I? I'm very surprised. But I don't have a mixed movie pick tonight. I have a Paul's movie pick. This is supposed to be Paul's takeover episode. He's sick, unfortunately. So like I said, I'll be doing it. Paul's movie pick is from 1927. He picked a silent film. He picked Metropolis. This is a fantastic film. And we did a full classic film review, which will be out tomorrow or Thursday, one of the next couple of days, over on our Patreon. You can go watch that or follow, like I said, and go hang out. But it is a fantastic sci-fi movie. Great silent era film. If you haven't had a chance to check this out and you're a film fan, I think you will love it. I do not think you'll love it. I don't think you'll love any silent films if you're not a film fan. If you're just like sort of I watch what comes out and I enjoy it, maybe stay away from the cinephile stuff, but check it out if you want. See what it's all about. But Metropolis was a fantastic movie. And I don't want to give too much away because I did do a full review and video about it. But good pick, Paul. Thank you so much for picking that one. Guys, again, join up on our Patreon. We have a giveaway going on right now. Deadpool popcorn bucket and a Wolverine souvenir cup. And it also comes with the top souvenir cup of Wolverine figures. Pretty cool. So go and just follow. All you got to do is become a member on our Patreon. You don't have to do the paid. You can do the free, and you're entered in to win this. Once we reach 100 followers over there, or members over there on Patreon, we will spin a wheel and pick 2 winners for each of these lovely items. Or we will definitely spin the wheel by August 20th if we don't reach 100. So it's coming up. And we're going to do more giveaways too. I'm already lining up some more. So I hope you guys can be a part of it. Bye.